Hello, Brian. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Brian. I've been in the real world for about a year and a half. My main campus is the social media client acquisition campus, and I've been a copywriter and journalist for a number of years, close to 8 years now. And I joined to up my skills and to get more clients. And I've been growing on social media and getting more interaction on my content for a while now.
Okay, so you're one of the more rarer cases because it sounds like you actually knew about copywriting before you joined the real world. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I had kind of a head start up on a lot of students.
Yep, yep. Because yeah, anyone who joins, they're like, copywriting. I thought that was the thing where you trademark something, but and then they find out what it actually is. But you've been in it for 8 years now. Yeah. So, how did you actually get into copywriting? And then after that, what led to you actually joining the real world?
So yeah, it's a bit of a long story. It started when I was in my like mid late 20s, and I quit working in retail, and I started looking for jobs that were in marketing marketing related stuff because that's what I went to school for, even though I had never worked in that field. And it wasn't working out, and I just had the idea somehow of, hey, uh, I'll look for something writing related. And just having that thought, that minor shift in mindset wound up changing everything, changing the whole course of my life basically, because I quickly found something, just writing like legal blogs for some marketing agency that happened to be nearby, even though it was all remote. They happened to be close by me. I was living in Southern California at the time, and it was just writing blogs for personal injury lawyer sites, and really pretty generic, low level stuff. But that eventually led me to one thing and led me to another. And then I was able to support myself and finally move out of my parents' house after several years of doing that. I got my income to that level. And so I did, and I found some resources online that helped me kind of figure things out and get clients and stuff. And I did really well for a number of years. And then in 2023, I just had this horrible downswing where it was like I lost in the beginning of that year. I lost my biggest client and eventually lost all my clients. And every month would go by, and nothing worked out. I tried to get full time jobs in writing or marketing. None of those worked out. I did everything I could, applied to hundreds of jobs, did all kinds of outreach, and just nothing was working. When in the past I was constantly getting clients, just inbound through LinkedIn. Everyone was reaching out to me, and I had more work than I could handle. All of a sudden, one day, it just stopped. Uh, Anyone I talked to, for some reason, all of a sudden, it didn't work, or we'd do like one project and that'd be it. And so I came across the real world probably around that time, or maybe like right before that time. I think I was the first time I came across it, I was a little arrogant and was like, "Yeah, I don't really need this," because um, I had no reason to. I was doing all right, so I didn't think much of it. And then, but I had been a Tate fan since I remember it was August 22, and I had just gone through a really bad breakup, um, with what was at the time a significant relationship. And it was right about the time that Tate got banned everywhere on the internet, and so I heard about that, and I was like, "Oh, who is this guy?" And just started listening to a lot of the motivational content. And so then, fast forward like 6 months after that, I started going through this hard time in my existing business. And then a little later that same year, I decided to just join the real world and get in the copywriting campus. And then it was not too long after that that the social media client acquisition campus opened up with Professor Dylan Moneybag Madden. And I realized that I didn't really need, I mean, I could always improve my skills and everything, but what the piece that I was really missing was the client acquisition. So I quickly moved into there and made that my main campus.
Okay, so let's continue on that then. What did you set up? Was it a social media page? Did you do something else? And where did that lead you to?
Yeah, there's been a variety of things. The main thing is just learning, number one, outreach, how to do it well, and number two, uh, social media and how to grow and how to create, what type of content to create, basically. So uh, I started sending more personalized messages. I know professor says you should only do personalized and like interact with somebody's content, and then uh, send them a personalized message saying how you can help solve their problems. I do that. I also do uh, generic stuff depending on the situation, and I get more views of my LinkedIn profile now because I post content that gets engagement, and I'm closing in on 10,000 followers. I'll probably be there within another month or two, I'm guessing, and I get my profile gets like 100 views a month or something. It says more than that, but the ones I can see on the back end of LinkedIn Premium, I would guess probably like 100 a month. And so I send a generic message to those people since they might be looking for a copywriter, and then I send personalized messages to other people in my niche, ideal clients. And I recently hired an outreach team, not just a person, but a whole team that helped create landing pages and have as a whole sequence. And I work with an outbound specialist there who sends a bunch of messages every day on my behalf using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So that all that helps with inbound and outbound leads. And then I hired a video editor. I create 8 YouTube shorts slash Instagram reels every month about stuff in my niche. I'm in the Bitcoin, crypto, and fintech niche, and because um, I'm considered an expert in that field because I've been involved with the technology for over 10 years now. And so combining that with the copywriting and marketing stuff worked out pretty well. And yeah, it's just a mix of creating the right type of content and engaging with other accounts, and then using the stuff. It's not just about trying to get likes and followers. It's more just about lead generation and getting attention for the purpose of getting people interested in working with you, and then making it so that when you reach out to them, they're more likely to respond and see you as credible.
Yeah, good. So from the things you've implemented from the social media and client acquisition campus, roughly, if you were to give a number, how many clients did you end up landing? And was this right after the dry period, if you can call it that?
Yeah, so trying to think, when I joined that campus was probably like the end 2023, definitely sometime fourth quarter 2023. And then when things started picking up for me were like early early 2024, like f- late first quarter, sometime second quarter probably. And it was hard. I mean, it didn't all just happen right away, but relatively quickly, all things considered. And like I said, I had a head start on some other students in the sense that I already had somewhat of an online presence. I already had a website and a portfolio of work and some recommendations, some testimonials. That's another thing the professor teaches. And but I still try to improve upon all those things in the correct way, and started um, getting more people interested in working with me one way or another. And I got some gigs here and there, and then eventually got a part time gig that was like freelance, but also W-2. It was a retainer basically, and so I would say probably close to, over the course of what, the last like 15 months or so now, probably have gotten like 10 to 12 clients.
Mhm. And if you were to give a rough estimate for how much that has resulted in terms of income, what would you say?
It's got to be at least 40,000, probably more. And there's also, I was also in the trading campus in the real world and made a little money there, but uh, found out it's better to focus on one campus and
Mhm.
focus on one thing. So yeah, to give a conservative estimate, I would say 40,000.
Okay, so very solid as extra income. And I was wondering, as you're explaining everything, with all the uncertainty that's been happening in your life, with the 2023 year, what draws you to continue doing copywriting and being a freelancer instead of getting a 9 to 5, as some people might?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's interesting. I've reconsidered at times. There's been times I doubted, and like I mentioned, I did apply for some full time jobs, even interviewed, had multiple interviews for some jobs, but it just didn't work out. There were times which had the weirdest things happen. There were times I things did really well, and then I had one interviewer that just uh, set me up for failure, asked all kind of questions that like were not relevant, or things I had no way of answering well. And then whereas the freelance or part-time things wound up working out. So there's that aspect, and there's also the aspect that I just can't really, I don't function that way. I can't really uh, go to an office and do the same thing every day at the same time, and that kind of rigid structure, and having to constantly uh, answer to a boss and be possibly be micromanaged. And it's really hard to explain, but for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a creative, maybe it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's just that that kind of thing doesn't really work for me. I don't think I would last very long. I think the longest I've ever held a traditional job was about 1 year. And so, yeah, I mean, I do it if I absolutely had to, but I've just been willing to try push really hard to do the freelance independent thing.
Hmm. Makes sense. And I'm not questioning why you did it. I'm just wondering if maybe the listener who might be on the verge of quitting because maybe it's not working out for them to
Mhm.
have a perspective on whether to continue or whether to get a 9 to 5. I guess it just depends on the person then, right? What kind of person you are and what you actually want out of life.
Yeah, totally. If you don't have a problem, like if the 9 to 5 thing isn't soul crushing for you, then I would say uh, it go for it. And the professor agrees. He says there's nothing wrong with having a job, and then you can do this on the side at nights and weekends, and just wait until, start with one client and then get more and start perfecting your systems and everything. And then once that income gets close to or exceeds your regular job income, then you can quit the job and do this full time, and uh, make sure you keep up with all your efforts to continue getting more clients.
Indeed. Okay, then I want to go back to when you mentioned you've been following Tate, I think you said from 2022. So, what kind of impact has he had on your mindset or anything else?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. A really big impact, because, like I said, it was at the time that I was dealing with a breakup, and was just kind of lost and aimless and isolated and didn't have much purpose. So one of the things that listening to his content helped motivate me to do was just to get back in the gym, because like I've been working out since I was 12 or 13. But then after I moved out, I moved from Southern California to Salt Lake City in 2020, and I would go to the gym like a few times a week, do a half effort workout, not really uh, anything that intense. And so I just decided, you know what, this guy's right. I'm gonna start going to the gym every day or close to it. I joined a rock climbing gym, and now I actually have another gym membership as well. It's right down the street because they have a sauna and all the equipment. And I gained 10 pounds of muscle over the course of uh, probably like 18 months. And then I started just working on myself because coming off that breakup, I wanted to be better the next time. And I decided I wanted a little more out of life, even though I had things pretty good overall. I just felt like I wasn't living up to my potential, and so started with fitness, and then kind of expanded into everything else you could imagine, and then wound up joining the real world. And then it was not long after that that I met my current girlfriend. We've been together 15, almost 16 months now, and that's been really great. It's been the best relationship I've ever had. We have a really great dynamic where she lets me lead and take charge and likes that and feels safe and secure around me, so she can just turn her brain off. And yeah, so honestly, I have to give some credit to Tate for influencing me to make all these changes. I also got a way nicer car, a 2021 Acura TLX, and I moved into a nicer apartment, a two-bedroom in one of the best areas of Salt Lake City. And I'm doing this call from my home office here.
Amazing. So yeah, complete change in your life within those 2 years, as you said, from when everything went wrong, well, started going wrong to now, complete 180. Would you say that was meant to happen for you? Like, was that a stage you needed to go through in order to get to where you are now, or you're still maybe unsure of why that actually happened?
I don't know how else to explain it other than to say it was something I had to go through, because it was really strange how it was like it didn't matter how much effort I put in. It didn't, um, or things would get so close to working out. I'd almost get some big gig, some great job, something, and then for some weird reason, it just wouldn't work out. And it was just a strange pattern, and it felt really. And then my dog died also that same year. My dog of 11 years that I had since I was 23 years old at the time. He just died suddenly. Wasn't even There was nothing wrong with him. And all of a sudden, he passed away on top of all this other stuff I was going through, and it just seemed like I had there was some disturbance in the universe. I remember going to a friend's wedding at that time, and telling him. Uh, he asked how I was doing. I said not so great. Uh, And then I also said that, he expressed sympathy, and I just said, yeah, I've been on the up and up for years now, so I guess now and then it has to happen. Life's not just always good all the time. There has to be ups and downs. There has to be equalizing periods. There's no light without dark. That's how Tate puts it. And
Perfect.
so, for one reason or another, I had to go through that, I guess.
So, with the trajectory that everything is going towards now, what plans do you have for future then, for short term, medium term, and long term?
Yeah, it's another good question. It's tough sometimes because I've just made quantum leaps so quickly, and the way I experience it is like, okay, well, I had this goal and I achieved it or exceeded it. Now what? like I spent so much time working toward this one thing, and I didn't really contemplate what comes after that. It was like when I
Mm.
first moved out to Salt Lake City, I spent years just trying to get out of my parents' house because I wanted to be independent so badly. And it took forever just to figure out what I was going to do, which wound up being copywriting and related marketing work. And then it took years to get that to a level where I could actually support myself. And then I figured out where to go and get an apartment and do all the stuff and actually move out there. And then I was like, well, crap, what do I do now? This has been this has been my singular goal for so long, and there's been a series of things that now, like I have the car I want, uh, I definitely have the place I want for now. This apartment I'm in is amazing. And it's 900 something square feet, and it's just me, 2 bedrooms, and uh, I have the girlfriend I want for sure. She's amazing, beautiful, intelligent, everything I could ask for, and so I guess I'm still trying to figure out what my next move is. Honestly, I'm just trying to get to the next income level, trying to hire more people, get have a more constant workflow, and expand into more content, different types of content. I'm starting to grow a YouTube channel. I'm only at 26 subscribers, but that's up from like 7 a few months ago. And yeah, there's so many things. I'm writing another book. I have a few books published, but I want to publish a third one. And I'm also recording music. That's somehow I
Mm.
just it's like the farther I go, the more different things I want to do. And um, I'm almost done recording my first EP or music album that is gonna drop and be available later this year. So lots of things.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so since you use the real world to grow your social presence and to get more clients, and it's clearly benefited you. What do you say to people who call the real world a scam or are unsure about joining it?
Yeah, that it honestly makes me mad, man. They don't know anything. They don't know what they're missing out on. They don't know what they're doing to people who may need it, who may hear them, and then go somewhere else, not join it because they have that opinion. And I would say it's the most, I've never seen so much value for such a small price before in my life. I mean, you're talking, what, $49 a month in exchange for a dozen or more different campuses, and each campus has a verified millionaire professor who made their fortune from the skill they're teaching. They have multiple courses inside that one campus, and you have all the chats that you get a daily checklist of things, the actual action steps to take, along with action steps in the courses, and you can ask questions to all kinds of people who have come before you and already had success, for example. And you don't get that anywhere else. I mean, there's people selling courses on, one topic that's covered inside one of the campuses, and that course might cost, I don't know, 300 or $1,000. And then once you have that course, that's it. You're just left kind of to your own devices. But here you have an ongoing uh, community to kind of help push you and guide you. And things are always being updated. The app's always being updated. Professors are releasing new content, new ways, new roles, and things to achieve and stuff like that. So to have such a varied, um, dynamic environment, learning environment, and access to all the tools you have and the things constantly being updated, I don't really see how anyone could not say that it's an incredible value.
Yeah, but it's only bad value for those who don't actually put in the work and think they'll join and somehow get rich by doing nothing.
For sure.
So, yeah. But yeah, very well said. And now, for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, how could they do so? Or where?
Yeah, sure. So you could go to my website at bdncontent.com. You could find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram. The handle's at bdncontent. On LinkedIn, you can search my full name. It's Brian Nibley, and on YouTube, the channel is also Brian Nibley. I have a podcast called the BD and Content Podcast, and yeah, that's it. I would just say people to encourage people to follow me.
Mhm. So add those to the description of the video. And yeah, Brian, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It's been amazing to see the transformation from what you talked about in 2013, 2023, that is, to now, with the life you have now and the with everywhere the diverse range of things you're doing and have planned for future. So I wish you all the best with them, and I'm sure some people were very interested with your story and hopefully inspired. So yeah.
Hope so. Thanks a lot for having me.